So you're building a community.
I am. So we can stop being silenced. Because we believe, I want to make sure everybody's clear that your silence equals somebody else's pain.
Now, what is your program? Because I sound like that. It sounds like there's a program.
There's a program
in this movement.
There's a program called Whispers to Roars. It's a 12-month mastermind cohort where I specifically take the women from so we got to start self-awareness, because if you don't know what the issue is, what muted you in the first place, we can't get to the next place.
Got to build that foundation.
Correct. And there is and through the process, it is help them to find their voice, because that we all lose our voice. We're muted. Find your voice. Find your story. What is that thing that made you lose your voice? And find your stage. And your stage is not necessarily a stage. It can be. You're on the stage when you're presenting in your workplace. And when COVID happened, many of the folks were in a struggle because they didn't know how to present or speak, because now they had to use their voice. You couldn't just be in a room working with other people. I got you.
Good evening, and welcome to Mission Brand New You. I'm Dr. Stephanie Wall, the founder of 1 Million Lives Transformed. Listen, I'm not going to hold you up. There's so many people say, I ain't going to hold you long. But thank you for being here. Well, tonight, October 1st, the first day of breast cancer awareness. It is my honor and it is my privilege to bring a magnificent, not just a medical professional, not just a practitioner, but an advocate, a person with a lived experience, who's not going to just tell you about her experiences personally, but how she can get you past where you are. So it is my honor and my privilege to bring up my friend, my sister, cuz all those things, Dr. Katrina. Dr. K, come on to the stage. Welcome, Dr. K.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
All of them, all of them.
All of them.
It's so many things. Listen. This topic, we know this is 1 hour of power. So we know that tonight we just got limited time. So we're just going to jump right in. And I don't want anybody to miss any of this juiciness that you're going to bring to the table.
Absolutely.
So now, Dr. K, I need you already. I know I don't got to tell you much. I know I don't need to tell you to be yourself. I know this because somebody was once in a hospital bed, and you has the nurse that came in to check on the other nurses who was in there bringing games and all the things and coming up there and making sure that I was getting the advocation, right? Is that a word? I was being advocated for, right?
Advocated for.
That's right. In the hospital space. I know for a fact that you are exactly who you say you are, doing exactly what you say that you do. But I wanted to ask you to just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Tell them, obviously, I told them your name, but I want you to tell them your name. But I want you to tell them about the early signs that you experienced. What are you living with? The early signs that you experienced that something was wrong, and the point that you knew that you had to become your own advocate, because there's going to be a lot of people watching who may or may not be experiencing what you are experiencing or something more. So I want you to tell them about that. Just give us a little. There's lots of questions I have, but tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. My name is Dr. Katrina Fowlkes. I am a nurse. I've been in the medical field. Actually, I started in medical training when I was in high school. They had the program in high school. So I actually volunteered when I was in high school, and I started my process. But it was in my early 20s or late 20s. So roughly around 26, 27, I started having abnormal discharge from my breast. Particularly, it was my left nipple. And Doctors Community Hospital, their women's center was amazing. They jumped on it. They monitored me. I was getting my annual, diagnostic early intervention because of the abnormal discharge. I had abnormal lymph nodes. So they were just monitoring me, and they told me I need to be monitored for the rest of my life, but they never said anything about genetic testing. They never said anything further than that. They just said I needed to be monitored with a mammogram, and I need to do every 6 months versus once a year. But I knew, I started kind of, investigating and knowing that, I started transitioning from PG County to Howard County because I was working at Doctors Hospital. And when I started working at Howard County General, I started noticing that my breast was getting, fuller because, as Black women, our breasts are more dense. I don't care if you have A cups, B cups, C cups, double Ds. our breasts are just it is dense. And so it's harder for our breasts to be determined whether or not we have anything in there. But I know down the line and with my family history that I knew that I needed to stay well above advocating for myself, because my mother was having issues with her breast, and it was her left breast. And she had Kaiser at the time, and they kept saying, oh, it's nothing. Oh, she's fine, and kept pushing it off. And so I knew from the women in my family, we had ovarian cancer, which I also had at a very young age. And we also had, when at the age of 18, I had precancerous polyps at the age of 18 removed off my colon. And so not knowing the genetic code down the line, not until 2018, I didn't find out, but I stayed on top of it. And I just knew what my family went through. And it wasn't until after my mom had her breast cancer came in 2016, she wound up having two different types of breast cancer. She wound up having lobular carcinoma and ductal carcinoma. And that's from the calcifications that was in her left breast. But in her right breast, where it metastasized, it was lobular carcinoma. And two totally different types of breast cancers. And Kaiser Permanente never genetic tested my mother. And she should have been genetic tested. And so that was in 2016. And so I'm asking, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Are we still monitoring? And I'm going back and forth. My doctors are, I'm like, look, my mother just had breast cancer. I'm calling my doctors, my GYN. I'm like, okay, I need my mammogram again. I need to see what's going on, because I started having pain in my left nipple. The pain it was like a subtle pain. It wasn't hard, but it was just a subtle pain. It moved from the discharge to a subtle pain. And from that pain, it just intensified. And I want to say in 2018, I was done. 2018, April of 2018, I said, okay, I can't do this no more. Something's wrong. And so I called, and mind you, I have been going through different doctors. And I hate to say this, I'm not a racist, but let's keep this real. It was very biased. I went through 5 different doctors that did not look like me. They were all white, and they told me nothing was wrong. But it was the one black doctor that sat down, I called the office. I said, look, something's wrong. My breast hurt. I need to be seen. She said, don't you worry. Come on in here. She not only did she, and I got to shout her out. I'm sorry. I love her because she started my life. Dr. Kimberly Turner, my first lady, my pastor's wife, Robert Turner from St. John's Baptist Church. Woo woo. I love you, because Dr. Turner, not only did she write the orders for my mammogram, she wrote the orders for my genetic testing, which I should have been able to have based off of my mother. But because Kaiser Permanente did not write the orders for my mother, she was able to write them. And so I went for my mammogram, and mind you, I got surveillance since the age of 26, 27 years old. My mammogram came up abnormal. And I went to a certain type of, a certain place for imaging, all people that don't look like me. And a girl kept saying, oh, it's just a cyst. Ma'am, a cyst is an abnormality. But is it a fluid-filled cyst or is it a solid cyst? You don't know that. And then with the type of genetic test that came back, it's called CDH1, one of the top 7 deadliest breast cancers. Yes, y'all heard me. One of the top 7 deadliest breast cancers. that I have running through my family that's also linked to, guess what? Stomach cancer and colorectal cancer, what runs rapid through my family. My grandfather died from colorectal. My great-grandfather died from stomach cancer. I had two aunts that died from stomach cancer. Aunt died from ovarian cancer. You name it, all of it. And my mom had lobular carcinoma that metastasized in her right.
So
And it,
wait a minute.
mm-hmm.
So I want to stop you there because I just wanted to. All right, so let me just get this straight because I want you all to pick up what she's putting down.
Yes,
All right,
please.
so you went to multiple doctors.
Multiple
They
doctors.
telling you that it's all in your head. You are feeling you said your left breast, the nipple at first was sore, and then it was very painful, and you was like something's not right. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe you told me once the doctor, someone even said breast cancer doesn't hurt. It's not
Yes.
painful.
And I'm exposing this doctor. I'm sorry. Look, I'm not saying the doctor's name, but I'm gonna say the facility. St. Joseph in
Okay.
Baltimore.
All right. Well, we not getting sued.
And let me tell you, because I told the administrator, you need to check that doctor. And I told the doctor right then and there, when he came in there and told me that cancer is not, the pain is associated with cysts, and cancer does
That
not
is not
hurt.
true.
That's
That's
what
not
the man
correct.
said, and that is false, because if you even look up lobular carcinoma, the first thing you see is pain.
Okay, so hold that thought.
I told that man, don't you ever tell nobody that. That's why we
Oh,
dying now.
so that's okay. So they were incorrect.
Absolutely.
Dr. Turner got you the test. It became determined that you, in fact, did have breast cancer. Okay.
I actually, it determined that I had an abnormal mammogram, and
Okay.
it determined that I needed to have further testing.
Okay.
And so I started the process. And even with that process, I had to fight. Like, it was not easy for me. I wound up
Okay.
seeing 5 different people after that. After seeing Dr. Turner, I wound up seeing 5 different people. And when it, because he was the first one, because I had to see
But wait a
surgery.
minute, because I got you. No. This the one thing that every one of us is clear on here is that you went to multiple doctors and they were not
Yes.
getting you. You are a whole medical professional, whole RN, right? You're
Oh,
almost a practitioner, right?
whole
And
RN.
you were having a time to advocating for yourself. So those of you that are out there that are having difficulty advocating for yourselves or your family members, you're not alone, because there's a whole medical professional who is also in the same struggle. Keyword was. Okay, so let me, or still, we'll talk about that. So, all right, so you were misdiagnosed then. And I want you to, and I'm going to just, you've had multiple misdiagnoses, is that correct?
Absolutely. You witnessed the most recent misdiagnosis. Did you or did you not? I was at your house when I received the phone call. Did you or did you not?
I did talk about it.
So first of all, I got to just say this. If y'all ever want to see a picture of a person being the name misdiagnosis and a person's name or the picture, my face will be right there in a book, because I received that phone call at Stephanie's house, Dr. Wall's house, sitting there talking, and a young man answered the
I feel like I
phone.
need to tell it. I feel like I need to, because it was just,
Please.
I feel like just because I need y'all to explain this. Now, let me back up. Right now, Dr. Katrina, are you in pain right now?
I am always in pain. Every day I'm in pain.
So I want you to talk. When I tell you, see, you all think of, the doctor asks me often, and I'm sure those of you who have ever had surgery, you're asked on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain are you in? And most days I have this pain in my back that I can experience. I'm at about a 3 to a 6, depending, but 3 to 5, 3 to 6 all the time. But Dr. Katrina, on most days, like right now, scale of 1 to 10, how much pain would you say you're in?
I am basically on average at between 8 and 10 every day. My pain is on an 8 to 10 level every day.
Talk about when you say pain in a specific place of your body, pain all over your body, pain in your bone. What are we talking about?
My pain I experience, I have, because when I was on chemo, my pain experience is my chemo hurt my bones drastically. First of all, from being misdiagnosed back in 2014, let's keep this real. I experienced a misdiagnosis. They gave me medication and I had a anaphylactic reaction, and it caused me to develop avascular osteonecrosis, where I had
Tell me what those things mean, because
so
you know
AVN avascular osteonecrosis is avascular meaning no blood supply, osteo that's your bones, and then necrosis meaning death. So I actually have no bone death to no blood supply to my bones, and it dies. And so I literally had both of my hips broken, my entire spine from my thoracic to my S1 completely collapsed. I've had both my feet shattered, both my ankles shattered, both my wrists are breaking now, both my shoulders are broken. I just had my right shoulder replaced, a partial. My left shoulder is broken. So my bones and both my knees are broken, like both of my knees, all the way up to half of my thigh and half of my shin are all dead. So my bones hurt. And so when I was placed on chemo, and that's because with the estrogen, I had hormone based cancer, breast cancer. And because I had hormone based breast cancer, my estrogen level had to be lowered. And because of that, and your bones also need estrogen. And so because they had to lower my estrogen, that also weakened my bones. And because I don't have my breast anymore, that too also weakened my bones, because your breast releases estrogen, and your fat cells also releases estrogen. And because I lost 70 pounds from being on chemo, the last chemo that almost killed me, because the chemo really was destroying my bones, and it felt like my bones was about to explode, and it still feel that way to this day. And in addition to that, I developed Crohn's, and with Crohn's I have Crohn's related arthritis. So every day I hurt.
So I want to tell you all this. So I'm going to read this because I wrote this down here. You already know she's a breast cancer survivor. She is, as you know, she's faced life-altering diagnoses, endured misdiagnosis, battles daily pain, and yet she continues to rise, advocating, educating, housing, feeding, and inspiring others, even while fighting her own battles. She's on here right now. Many of us at 3 or 4, we would have been on somebody's show. You'd have been like, I'm in the bed. I can't. Hope says, despite all this, you continue to serve the community. And that's bona fide. Dr. Katrina, she's the founder of Perfect Generation Ministries, a nonprofit dedicated to helping families access critical services when they need it the most. Her story is one of grit, faith, and relentless service. So, I mean, listen, now and thank you for that. I wanted them to understand who you were and why you do all that you do. But more importantly, before I could tell them about this doctor, as you were sitting downstairs in my family room, and she had a young lady who she was serving who was there, and one of my clients was here. So the 4 of us were sitting in the living room area, and her phone rang, and it was a doctor, a surgeon. Now she had just gotten out of the hospital. Now mind you, she opened my house serving up juice. Somebody serving up some good knowledge. When I say juice, some good knowledge. And we're having a good conversation. Her phone rings, and the surgeon called her. Let me back up. She just told me she had talked to her surgeon, talked to her doctor. She'd been cleared. No additional surgery was needed. She's good to go. What they thought they needed to do, there was nothing, no need to do it. Phone rings. Here come a surgeon, and the surgeon was like, "Hey, this," and now we can hear him. "This is Doctor So and So. I'm calling to schedule your surgery." Now, mind you, my mind immediately went to surgery. Well, she didn't need surgery. But she was just as calm. So she let him talk for a few minutes. And then he was like, "Yeah." She said, "Well, you talked to Dr. So and so?" And he was like, "That's why I'm calling for to schedule a surgery." She said, "Yeah, when I spoke with him, and he said I didn't need surgery." And then she began to talk back to share with him using the terminology that only a medical professional would understand. And she repeated back to him, "No, this, and this." All of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, well, let me look at my notes. Oh, you're right, friends." This man was called to schedule a surgery. This man had not looked at his notes before he called the patient. How many of us that wouldn't have known any better would have been like, "Well, I guess I got to have surgery because the doctor knows better"?
Right.
Had she not spoke up for herself and told him she didn't need surgery based on this and understood the terminology, she'd have been gone under the knife to have brain surgery, friends. Y'all, I need y'all just to understand what I just told y'all. Pick it up, put it down, and pick it back up again, because that was some good knowledge right there. Because did I miss anything, Dr. K, on this particular thing? All right, well, I got another question for you. I got another question. I got so many questions. We ain't got enough time. If somebody's on here right now, and they have, if a viewer right now suspects they're being misdiagnosed, what's the safest next step?
So what I always encourage people is this. If you are suspected to be diagnosed, definitely go through the process, get genetic testing, make sure you go to the upscale. If you're in the DC DMV area, metropolitan area, my place of choice is Mercy Breast Center. They are my lifesaver. My doctor, Dr. Takaya, woo woo, I love her. And if you're in Columbia, Dr. Sastry, she is the bomb. Because by the time I got to the fifth doctor, the lady was saying to me, even after seeing that I had CDH1 out in Howard County, the lady was very nonchalant about it. "Oh, I'm going to give you Primicin oil and vitamin A." That's supplement, ma'am, for pain management. Pain management? Seriously? No, ma'am. Can you please give me a referral to an oncologist, is what I said. And guess what? It is your right to get a referral to an oncologist. It's your right to go and get checked. It's your right to get genetic testing. Follow through. If you are tested positive, if you think that you need to get a second opinion, you stay with the team, but get a second team to follow through with the same team. Don't lose, because it's time of an essence, because you don't know how aggressive the condition is if you are positive. You just want to get the results, but just don't get the results and sit on it.
That's good. That's great advice. I love that you said specifically, if you're going to get a second opinion, stay with the team that you have while you're getting that second opinion, because oftentimes we don't want to hit the reset button. We're afraid we're going to lose some information, and so that's key. I thank you for that. How do you plan for surgery or recovery while still protecting your mental, emotional, and spiritual health?
Woo! How do I plan for surgery? I done had so many. I think it's just second nature for me. My husband and I, we have a routine pack now, because it's been surgery. I've had about 3 to 4 surgeries each year for the last 4 or 5 years now. And so it's been second nature. I know for my husband and I, we have suffered for years, all the way up through to 2023. And after 2023, we said we weren't going to suffer anymore. So since 2024, we've been speaking out. And so mindset, your mental health is everything. So I encourage people to make sure when you're planning your surgeries, don't be afraid to ask for help. Make sure you're connecting with your strong friends, your family, people that, not your acquaintance, not people that just want to be nosy. No, your trusted friends, people that you can count on, people that are going to say, look, I got you. I'm going to come clean your house. I'm going to come do a meal train for you. And then they're going to keep it going for a couple of months, not for 2 days, 3 days. I have this young lady named Fanny. I love her. Do you know she cleaned my house for a whole year and she's still cleaning my house? And she owns a whole cleaning company and she does not charge me nothing. Come in every week cleaning my house, hands down, to this day. She literally just texted me 2 days ago, little sis, do you need your house cleaned? That's what you need in your life. And that helps. That's mental health. And so putting things like that in place before you have your surgery, even if you're by yourself, connecting with organizations like Perfect Generation Ministries, because my nonprofit, what we do is we provide nurse case management services to families that have been impacted by gun violence, mental health, and health challenges. Those are the 3 things that I've been impacted. My oldest son, he was an innocent bystander out of Howard County. On his way to work, got shot. While I was on chemo, I literally had just started chemo, and my mental capacity got overtaken because my mom got sick the following month and kidneys and everything failed. She went to kidney failure and congestive heart failure, and then dealing with drama in the family, and then having to become a hospice nurse for my mother. And I was a hospice nurse for my father. And I was a hospice nurse for my best friend who also had breast cancer. So trying to connect all these things, you want to make sure you have everything in alignment. And don't be afraid to ask for help.
And thank you for that, Dr. K. That's a great segue into where has faith guided you when medicine didn't have fast answers?
It guided me through everything. All I had was my faith. I would not be here today if I did not know that God himself didn't come off the throne and carried me through the fire himself. It was my faith. It was not the little mustard seed. It was my mustard seed growing bigger and bigger and bigger because he carried me, my husband, my children, my grandchildren. He covered us all, my everything, for us to have had to endure everything. I've had to have emergency heart surgery. I've had to have so many things, but still doing. I was forced out of my government job because of my disability, even though I worked every day. These people didn't even know I was in a hospital receiving my infusions, and doctors and nurses fussing with me, but I was still working, getting my job. I was the first one on a computer, last one off, get my job done. I forced myself into my work so I can fight to live. But I asked God to give that to me. God put PGM, Perfect Generation Ministries, onto my heart so that I can help other people not go through what I went through. So I can live. So I can help my family, my husband, my children, my grandchildren, people that look like me, that are mistreated, inhumane because of the color of my skin. I was treated in such a horrible way. And so my faith kept me rooted. And being in a church family that loved me enough to pray for me, and being with family like you and my cousin Pam and my sister Latanya Ford, like Ben, Nakia, let me tell all of my sister Katrina, all of them that give me word, give me life, Kiana, giving me life, giving me bread into my soul. I had to surround myself around my angels, and that's why I still do. I keep myself surrounded about the angels who are around me that keep me girded, who will check me when I'm wrong, who will also nurture me when I need nurturing. When I'm weak, they will love on me no matter what. And that's what you need. You need prayer warriors when you can't pray for yourself. And you need to know when you're not okay. It's okay not to be okay. Because touch not thy anointed one and suffer my prophets no harm. That's God's word. He's not going to let anything happen to us. If God wanted me dead, he would have took me a long time ago. So I know my suffering is not for myself. My suffering is for the people that he's going to bring across my path that he's already brought, that he wants me to help. That's why PGM is here. That's why my nonprofit is doing well. We will be 5 years strong. Actually, we are 5 years strong as of this month, because we started off as an LLC, because I wanted to make sure I opened up a program before I had my surgery, but we did an LLC, but we turned it in and converted it into a nonprofit in February of 2021. So we actually started it the month before I had my breast surgery in 2020.
And you still working full-time, working this thing. You have not, this. Let me tell you something. I think matter of fact, my name is Stephanie, and I know that at least once or twice I've had to tell her if she don't sit down.
Yeah.
I had to tell her, if you don't let somebody else get in that seat. How many of you, my name is Stephanie, and I got to be Charles in charge too. And vice versa. I've had Dr. K tell me have several seats. So, we both have had this conversation, but I need you to know how, I so appreciate you, everything about you. But I wanted to, and thank you so much for your transparency. But I guess that's gonna be a question. The questions are coming at me. So one of the things I want to make, what data or documentation makes doctors pay attention? And I know you can't wait for the answer to this. What data or documentations make doctors pay attention? I feel like I'm rapping over here. What you got?
The data that doctors need to pay attention to is not the paperwork, it's the patient.
No. When you think about it, for these people listening, what data or documentation will make them pay attention? So when you think about a patient that don't know, if you could tell us anything, what data or documentation would you tell somebody, listen, if you got to advocate for yourself, say this or give them this?
That's what you're saying. I apologize. I'm a little slow right now.
I know that's your mind was always on what you
Look. I was about to say your patients need to be advocating, saying,
no.
Yeah.
I want you to tell them, if you telling us, listen, this is how you advocate for yourself. This is the data and this is the documentation that will make them sit up and pay attention. What is that?
That you need to, first and foremost, you need to be requesting the data that you need to be requesting, and for your doctors to understand you. You need to be going to American Cancer Society, cross-referencing and going to legislators, cross-referencing the voices of Black women, cross-referencing Touch for Life, as they are talking about genetic testing for Black women. You need to be making sure that your doctors are out here doing what they're supposed to do, due diligence for you. If you have a family history, and that means first line, a mother, an aunt, a grandmother, a father with prostate cancer. Hello.
Wait a minute. So if I'm at the doctor's and I have been, I'm challenged, right? I feel like something's wrong. What document that I can get access to right away? What one thing will make that doctor pay attention to me?
Your blood work, your genetic testing,
Okay. And what,
and
and the
your
data.
mammogram and your MRI. You need to get a 3D mammogram. You need to get
So
an
that,
MRI. Yeah,
so
these
what
are the
is,
things.
okay. So if I have my MRI, my blood work, that, all of that, that will make them sit up and take notes.
And you also need a biopsy, but I need to say something about a biopsy though, because it depends on the type of strand you have. So for lobular carcinoma, which I have, this is why my particular cancer is so dangerous, is because it grows in a line. It doesn't grow in a cluster. So yes. So by the time you find out you have it, you're stage 4, stage 3, stage 4, and it's already metastasized. And it loves the lobular portion. So it goes into your lymphatic system. So it can be anywhere in your body. Okay. And so it doesn't grow in a cluster like majority of the breast cancers.
So with
Other,
that, I want to ask you this. So
Mhm.
does that mean that it may not be found in a mammogram?
It may not be found in a mammogram. It may not be found in a biopsy. It can be picked up off of an MRI.
MRI. Okay.
But mine was picked up off of a mammogram.
So, well, okay. So then it's possible. Okay. So now with that, there's another question in the same vein. If you could redesign one step in the patient journey, what would you fix first and how?
Oh my God, there's so many steps that do need to be fixed.
What's the first one? The one, if you could only
The
fix
first,
one.
the first step that I would fix, can I say a long sentence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the first thing that I will fix once the person is aware that they have an issue and saw the GYN write the orders for a mammogram, it confirmed that there's abnormality, and they confirm that this is a, well, before they even go for a mammogram, I will, if at the GYN level, to cut the costs and to cut time wasted, if I had any time to be able to change this, I will ask that they change if the individual have a family that is a high risk, they immediately go to an MRI versus having to go and get a mammogram and then have to go and get an ultrasound behind that, because that was the issue for me. My mammogram will go abnormal, but then they will go and do the ultrasound and then be like, oh, it's just a cyst. But if you know Dr. Terry Hill, who is a what? Reconstructed surgeon for breast cancer, she would say to any of y'all, a cyst, whether it's fluid filled or solid, is an abnormality. Stop telling people this. Stop
So,
telling people.
so
And
from what
so,
I'm hearing from you is that what you would do, and thank you, Dr. Katrina, would be to cut out the red tape. So
right,
whenever you go somewhere, it's always a process. Like if you before surgery, you got to have physical therapy, you got to have this, and this, and that.
right,
So you're saying if there's a history, a family history, then streamline that process so that we can discount, we can take off, we can X off and make sure that they don't have this thing because they're at a higher risk for having it. Is that what I'm
right.
hearing?
Yes,
Okay.
because at the end of the day, you're cutting costs because you're saving money, because you don't have to do no mammogram. You don't have to worry about no ultrasound. You're going straight to the MRI. MRI can then, because they'll put the chastity on you. It'll pick up even more and
And you're
better,
saving.
and it's deeper, and it'll grab everything. And so it's an automatic, and then it cuts the time in
Okay.
like half. And then once you get that MRI, the MRI is read within hours. They can determine whether or not you need to have surgery ASAP. They can then determine whether or not a lady that have nodules in her breast from breastfeeding to see whether or not that's actually a clogged milk duct
Yeah.
or is it
Uh-huh.
cancerous.
You know, this the key, and all this. I'm with you on that, because I mean, from whether it be breast cancer or cancer or something or anything, there's always all of these steps, and I get it that it's not necessarily the doctor. Often it's the insurance companies, right?
And it's
That's having
stupid.
all these steps, and not only they're saving money, but they're saving lives, right? Would you agree?
Right. And
So
I used to work for an insurance company and I couldn't stand, I left them because why deny people all the time? You are all day long, you on the phone, you deny. So why don't you just, if you want to, if their whole point is taking your money, they want to take your money and they want to deny you. They say they want to cut costs. They just want to take your money. You paying your premium every month. And when you need something, you can't even get what you need.
yeah.
And so, and then you got to get all these pre-approvals and all this stuff for what? Okay, if why do you got to take me through this? And why I got to get an X-ray, a CT scan, then the CT scan, a MRI? That's more costly than you
Yeah.
just taking me from,
Well,
okay, this issue, let me go ahead and just get my MRI because I'm already at high risk. I already got boom, 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 boom. Or let me get genetic test. Let me get genetic test, see if I got something, and then straight there. Or if I got anybody in my family, my father's side of the family, anybody got prostate cancer, or anybody in my mother's side, and then let me go straight to the MRI.
right. But you know, you know, it's a trap, right? So let me ask you this, because I almost run out of time before I get these good questions in here. All right, but this has already been juicy. Y'all, if it's been juicy, go ahead and put in the chat so that she knows that y'all, if this been fire, if this has been good, if this has been informative, if you got anything from this, please go ahead and put it in one of those chats so that she will know and I will know that that this is some good meat and potatoes.
I
All
hope
right,
so.
so one more thing for you, because you know, thinking about leaders,
Yes.
caregivers, and employers. And listen, the folks say it's been fire. Listen, we get your fireballs. They're coming. Thank you all. Thank you all. Well, not just how can we do this, but what language helps and what language harms when we're trying to support someone who is in pain?
So when we have caregivers who are taking care of people like me, their silence hurt. When they are distanced from us, when they don't know how to communicate, I say counseling for everyone. I encourage caregivers to get counseling because they are wear down. They don't know what goes on inside of us. And it will only help the situation, not harm. And it also, you know, a rub a shoulder, a rub a feet. Don't be hard on the person. Don't think that they're lazy. Don't make them feel like they're lazy. But don't be hard on yourself either because you're a caregiver. You're
Is there
human too.
and thank you for that. And is there any words or any phrase or any comments that are very harmful?
Yeah. I've heard you can get up and do it. Why you can't get up and do it?
Wow. What is helpful?
What is helpful is
What can someone speak into someone's spirit?
babe or honey or I got you. Don't move. I know you don't feel good. Let me put this up under your leg. I know my husband's done that many a times.
I love
You
that.
need some tea? I got you.
And I would imagine whomever you share your journey, your pain, what you're feeling in that moment, that they just believe you.
Yeah, the belief
Just
part
believe
is
you.
real because doctors need to believe that patients are not drug
Well,
seeking.
no. I mean, the people that is your caregivers, your
Yeah, they need to also know
the
that you
doctors
are
for
in
sure, but
pain.
the people that are in your space and face, in your place and your face, like that's there to support you and take care of you in your home. You need them to believe you. Believe me that I'm
Yes,
bleeding. Believe me that I'm hurting. So and with
with
that,
no
I want you to
judgment, with no
tell us
judgment.
tell us about Perfect Generation Ministries, who you serve, what services you provide, and why it matters right now.
We serve, of course, we serve our African American community, Black kings and queens, but we do accept all race. We don't turn anyone away. But we do serve our youth ages 4 through 24 and their families. We work with families that have been impacted by gun violence because, like I said earlier, my older son was shot, then my baby cousins were murdered, and then a host of family and friends were taken away too as well. And I want to give back. And that's a passion for me because too many of our Black people, our young children, are dying. And I want to be able to prevent that. So we feed, we educate, we help them get their high school diploma through the reentry program. We do a lot of nurse case management services at no cost to the family. We do wraparound services. We help families get back into school. We have a partnership with Howard Community College where we got the parent scholar program. Whoop, whoop. We just did a speaking engagement last Friday, went amazing. And we have parents that are enrolled there where they can go and get their education and get all the resources and support. I actually went through that program years ago when it was called Career Links. And like the president of Howard Community College, Dr. Willis, she was a teen mom. And so being a single mother, that means so much to me. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this too as well, because I have struggled so hard and there was not a lot of resources. So I wanted to be that gap. And so being a nurse and providing nurse case management services, I saw a need, especially around the time while I was struggling with my breast cancer and having recovered from surgery and during COVID. I saw so many people that looked like me, Black people, struggling hard, trying to get the resources that they needed. And I worked for the government and I was like, I cannot let this happen. Like, it hurt me to my soul that I saw people starving, people homeless, and I just wanted to make sure that I was an important advocate for my community. Be the bridge, be that gap to solidify people, bring people together, show people, hand walk them to the resources, not just show them that, oh, you can go there or you can get there. No, I wanted to help walk them and connect them and network. And that's what I've been doing because it's important to me because my grandchildren, my 7 grandloves, are going to be my future. And this is my legacy for them. This is for my family, my husband, my children, my grandchildren, and for my community, people that I love. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and with that, because this is Perfect Generation Ministries. You all, we will put the link in all the chats, and you'll be able to click on there, go there. I encourage you, if this is your jam, one way or the other, serve with your time or serve with your gifts, talents, and abilities, and of course your moolah, dineros, those pesos. All
donate.
this is a nonprofit. It can't run on wishes alone. But one of the things that the folks want to know is, what is one action that they can take in the next 24 hours to advocate for themselves or a loved one?
One action, speak truth. If you see something going on, don't be afraid to speak your truth. You have to speak the truth, whether it's to your doctors, whether it's to their doctors, whether it's to the person around you that's doing something wrong, whether it's a toxic person in your life. Speak truth, because that's the only action that needs to take place in life. Advocacy is truth. Advocacy is speaking up. Advocacy is love, loving yourself, speaking love for someone else. If you see a man in the street beating up on a woman, or vice versa, if you see a woman beating up on a man, what are you going to do? Are you going to walk away? Or are you going to speak up? Are you going to call the police? Are you going to get somebody to help to de-escalate the situation? Or are you going to be that problem? It's all in that same grain. It's called advocacy. Speaking up, that's the truth. That's an action word.
I just want to pop in real quick. There's a question on the table here from Lawanda Barber. She wants to know, in doing genetic testing, are there specific things we should be looking for?
Yes. Yes. So when you go to your GYN, right, I want you, this is what you do. Listen now. Go to your GYN. You specifically ask them, I want to get genetic tested for breast cancer. There's over 100,000, so many genetic breast cancer genetics strands, but there are top 7 that they look out for. And what you're doing is, what you want to do is, you want to ask them to write down that you want the saliva, like that you a referral for genetic testing. And what they'll do is, if you're in this region, 90 times out of the 10, they will be sending you to Johns Hopkins, because that's where they go to do the genetic testing. And it's very thorough, because they send it to California. It's certain clinics that do California. And I actually gave Stephanie a link. American Cancer Society Voices for Black Women is doing a study for Black women regarding cancer studies. Y'all need to get involved. But back to the genetic testing, you want to get a referral, and when you get that referral, you're going to meet with a PA or a nurse practitioner or a doctor, a counselor, and they're going to go over your family history to look and see what is your risk. Regardless of that risk, you still want to get genetic tested, because that don't mean anything. Because guess what? You got environmental induced cancer. My best friend, she died from an aggressive strand of environmental induced from the military. Tanya Hyde. And so you want to be able to get involved. Touch for Life, they do advocacy and partner with a laboratory that do genetic testing for Black women, and advocacy for Black women. Touch for Life, minority owned. There are organizations out here that you all want to look up and get involved, but don't be afraid. All they're going to do is a saliva swab in your cheeks, and they're going to, or you'll spit in a tube. It's either way. You'll spit. I did the spitting one because I got more genes in there, and they were able to get everything. And that's how they were able to get mines. And based off of mines, forced Kaiser Permanente to test my mother, because my father was already dead. So we couldn't test my dad. So we were able to test my mother, and my mom came up with lobular carcinoma too. And with being as though hers test, mine's, my doctor at the time, Dr. Sastry, they did a tumor board review, and they said, your breast got to go. And based off of my pathology report, it came back positive. My left nipple and my milk duct and my lobular portion, lobular carcinoma, was positive with cancer. I would have died. And guess what? This is another thing. My biopsy came up negative. How about that? I would have died years ago. But thank God for my oncologist. Thank God for the knowledge of telling the surgeon who was so nonchalant and who was racist and biased. She didn't even want to give me pain meds. My daughter had to call my primary care for him to even give me pain meds because my surgeon refused to give me pain. She only gave me 14 pain pills to last me for 2 weeks to see her. She didn't know that I knew her big boss and wrote him, and guess where she at now? Tell me where she at.
I don't know where she at, but no.
Her program got dismantled, baby. Because they did a full-fledged investigation and found out she was being very racist to Black women. She was nasty, livid nasty.
There's a question on the floor here. Question on the floor. Jacqueline Dorsey says, I know we are talking about breast cancer, but do they have a genetic testing? Do they have the genetic testing for dementia?
You can test your vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 blood work so your vitamin B12 is good for a couple of things. It's released off of the bottom portion of your stomach. It helps to feed your metabolism, but it's also brain health. So they check your vitamin B12 to see whether or not if it's low, because that can determine whether or not you have good brain function. So I always encourage people, if you start having memory fog and all that stuff, ask them to check your vitamin B12 levels, because they don't have genetic testing right now to my understanding. I know they got a lot of stuff going on, but vitamin B12 is a good start to see whether or not you need vitamin B12 supplements to help, because people vitamin B12 do drop, especially if you're overweight.
That's wow. That's good to know. But but for those of us to take the supplements, like we know we need B for energy. So obviously, if you're going to get tested, make sure that's not the week you taking. You already taking them, and make them aware that you're taking it.
Make them.
So we got about 4 minutes. So I want to ask this really quickly. What's a resource that you would recommend? A book, a site, or community? I put one in there that you gave me, and then the second thing is a myth about chronic illness you want to retire today.
Say that one more time.
Tell me a myth about chronic illness that you want to retire today.
Woo! A myth about chronic illness. So many of them that we're not capable of doing stuff, that we're like, because you have a chronic illness, that you're supposed to be stuck in a house, that you're supposed to be weak. You can live with a disability. You can have a life with a disability. I want y'all to put that to bed. If God gave me the strength to get up and do all the things that I'm doing, you all can do it too. Stop making excuses. Because I'm going to tell you, my pain is real. I have pain beyond the measure. I may not look like I have pain, but baby, my hair fell out. And my hair, I had long locks. My mental health is overwhelming. I do counseling. I go through it. It's real in these streets. I hurt every day, but that does not keep me in my bed. Yes, I want to be in my bed every day. Do I cry? I may cry every other day, if not every day. But I promise you, you need to get up out your bed and stop making excuses. You need to get up, smell, go outside, look at the greenery, change your scenery, change your friends. If they're negative and complaining all the time, stop, get away from them. Change your venue. Put positive people in your life. Go to church. Reinvent your life. Travel. Do some things. Step out on faith. Trust God's process. How about that? Not your own.
Ooh, that's a word right there. That's a word right there. Okay, so before we close it out, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you, how they can reach you, how they can learn more. Of course, I put the link in the chat, but I also want you to tell them where they can find you, who you are, the good stuff, all the things one more time.
Of course, of course. Perfect Generation Ministries, Inc. We are out of the state of Maryland. Please look us up. I am Dr. Katrina Fowlkes. I also own Just Breathe Consulting and Nursing LLC, where we hold contracts and help people establish businesses. And I do speaking engagements, I do training, I do workshops. And also we do a lot of events, summits. You can find us on Eventbrite. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. You can find us anywhere. We are around. And I am also Dr. K, the resource queen. So I am the true resource queen. I can connect you with any and everybody. We are a network team. I am here. 443-583-8909 is our business number. That number again is 443-583-8909. That is our business number. You all can definitely reach me anytime, anywhere. I am available.
Thank you, Dr. K. Again, thank you for being an amazing, amazing guest. You all, I'm going to tell you want to connect with Dr. K. I call her about everything. So listen, once a month, we'll be back here, maybe sometimes twice a month. We'll never know, but please come on in, check out what we got going. If you're someone, if you have a story, if you serve, if you advocate, if you do something for the world or the community, or you have a story that you think the world needs to know, come on in and visit us. So, okay. Dr. K, thank you for coming. You all stay right here, but we got to go. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephanie Wall. And as Lisa Nichols says, listen, shine your light. And if for some reason your light is too bright for somebody else, tell them to put on their sunglasses. Come on back here. Can't wait to see you again. Fire.